Hello everyone, Markle255 here and welcome back to another video. I've decided to do a video on every single Paper Mario game, except Sticker Stars. I don't have it and I have no way of recording it if I did. Just because why not? This series has always been one I've loved, even though it took me until 2020 to actually beat any of the games. These videos will be structured in a way that allows me to talk about most things I want to, mainly being the structure of the games. Obviously, we'll go in order of release for this series, and a quick disclaimer that I won't be able to talk about everything in these games due to a variety of fairly obvious reasons. For convenience sake, I'm playing this first game on the Switch Online service, which is basically identical to the original, aside of looking just slightly nicer. With all this being said, let's start talking about Paper Mario 64. We start with a mailman sending a letter to Mario's house, which Luigi gets for us. The letter reads that Peach is having a party at her place and we're invited. How original for the series, right? Anyway, once we get there, we can explore Peach's castle a bit and even get into her room after speaking to this guard toad a couple times. It's pretty nice. Anyway, you need to make your way over to Peach and you have a nice conversation with her until the ground starts shaking. Fuck! It's Bow Wow! He wants Peach, but you can take him, right? Oh shit, he's invincible. Well, we're kind of dead, but these star spirits have got our back. They revive us with the last of their power, and a female Goomba finds us and takes us to a house to heal. Whilst we sleep, one key star spirit visits us and tells us to go to the Shooting Star Summit. When we wake, we find out we've fallen into Goomba Village, where we meet a small family of Goombas. When we try to leave, the stupid bitch Kamek blocks the way with a block. We gotta go get the hammer from Goomba to break the block and move on. Shit. So yeah, we gotta find the hammer that fell when the block created so much movement that it broke the balcony which Goomba was on. Once you get it, you meet a key character known as Junior Trooper, who always wants to square up with you whenever you meet him. You easily take him down and you travel back to the village. Once you get back, Goomba says he needs to get something that will help us on our adventure, the Power Jump Badge. Badges are a key component for combat and traversal that require badge points to turn on and usually flower points to use. There are tons of badges in this game with varying levels of usefulness. Also, we get our first party member, Goombario. Party members give us some extra help in battle and are usually required for traversal. And just to let you know, the recording software I used just gave up here, so you won't be able to see anything here for a bit. Sorry about that. Anyway, after finally breaking the block in the way and going forward a few rooms, we meet two Goomba brothers who are walks in the park to beat. All these bosses here at the beginning are basically impossible to lose, they're very scripted. After defeating those guys, you meet the Goomba King, who will do anything in his power to take you down, and he's dead. After turning his castle into a bridge and going across it, we see a conversation between Kami Koopa, Big Man BW, and the Koopa Bros, who are obviously a reference to the Ninja Turtles. They do this cool move we're not allowed to see and we get back to Mario. I'd say this ends the prologue, so let's move on to Chapter 1, even though the game doesn't say we're officially in Chapter 1 until much later, but still. We're now in Toad Town and we can go to our house and see Luigi and how he's doing taking care of the house. He's pretty damn jealous that we're going on an adventure and shows that in a diary throughout the game that you can see in the basement when you get an upgrade. I love going back to one specific place in a game and checking one specific thing to see if there's any new things I can see. So this is awesome and it's quite funny too. Quite meta as well because he references Luigi's Mansion before Luigi's Mansion even released. Anyway, after following the main path to get to Shooting Star Summit, a house with two people are present, allowing you to see how to get various things, and another allowing you to exchange star pieces for badges, the latter being much more useful, for me at least. Side note, the theme for this place is one of my favourite songs in the game. It's insanely relaxing. Once you get to the top of the mountain, the Star Spirits from earlier tell you that you must recruit all 7 of them by getting their cards from many places around. After that, a Peach-focused intermission happens. These are some of my favourite things in the game, honestly. It's really nice to actually know what Peach is up to, instead of just going to her, not caring. She's basically just sad that she can't do anything until a Star Kid arrives. His name is, Twink. Yeah. Twink acts as Peach's messenger for this game, and his first task is to take a necklace called the Lucky Star to Mario, which will help him a lot, and tell him he's okay. After that, we gain control of Mario again to find Twink flying over to us, and he gives us that Lucky Star I was talking about. I was waiting until now to talk about how combat works, so I'll give as short a rundown as possible. Basically, you can choose between a collection of different attacks, items, actions, and partner moves. Each type of attack uses a combination of the control stick and button inputs, which all feel really satisfying. The best ones for me are when you need to mash the control stick left. It's unnaturally satisfying. Combat is super satisfying to do in every Paper Mario game, but the first 2 are definitely the best at it to me. Anyway, after a quick tutorial using the Lucky Star, you need to travel to the house with the spinning roof, which is owned by Merlon, a key character who helps you throughout the whole game. There are these toads blocking your way where you need to go, which are revealed by Merlon to be the Koopa Bros in disguise. They run back to the fortress and we follow. On our way there, we find Koopa Village, where fuzzies are running amok. We meet Koopa, who lost his shell like the others, but we gotta go out of our way to get it because the fuzzies do a little mini-game. It's pretty simple, and once you get it back, Koopa joins our team as the second party member of the game. He lets you get unreachable items by throwing his shell. He's also really useful in battle when there's only ground enemies, as he can hit them all at once. Anyway, after a quick tutorial against the fuzzies using Koopa's power shell ability, we go back to the entrance and through a different way to reach the Koopa Bros fortress. This game has sort of a dungeon structure where you need keys to progress, although it's really simplified. No puzzle's really hard, you just need to get the things to move on. There's a multitude of new enemies here though, like bombs who, after attacking them once, will explode and do more damage than usual if you don't kill them in time. After going through a bit of the dungeon, you enter this room, where a Koopa Bro is seen doing something to an area with a block. After going to hit the block, we're in prison now with no way out, just kidding. Here's an introduction to the next party member, Bombette. Her ability in the overworld to explode and similar abilities in battle make her a useful party member throughout most of the game. After blowing up her way out and using a combination of Koopa and Bombette to continue on, we reach this room with 2 bullet bill cannons which shoot at you trying to get to the end. I've always loved this whenever it's used throughout the game, and the next one. It's a good test of reaction time, but most of the time you do just like first strike them or they first strike you. It's pretty annoying. Anyway, after getting to the end of that, do your last preparations as we've got our first end of chapter boss, the Koopa Bros. Never mind, we're already fighting Bowser, neat. He has 1 defense point, so jumping is not the best idea here. Using badges like Power Jump and Bombette's bomb ability are great at this point. Once you kill Bowser, it's now time for the real boss, the Koopa Bros. They start the fight off with standing on top of each other, but using Bomb from Bombette will topple them over fast. When they've fallen over, Koopa's your best bet to deal damage to all of them fast. Towards the end, you may have run out of FP, where you can either use normal attacks or spend a turn healing up with honey syrups to restore FP. More than likely, you'll end the battle successfully. Both the Bowser Robot and the Koopa Bros themselves did it with that good old irony by falling down to the cell which Bombette was stuck in, and the Star Spirit card emerges, ending Chapter 1. Overall, a pretty fantastic way to start this game, letting you get used to the basics of battle whilst not feeling like it's trying to hold your hand throughout. On to Chapter 2. We're technically not in chapter 2 yet. We're in this sort of limbo state between chapters, but still, getting the Star Spirit card to me means the end of the chapter. Anyway, we've got our first playable Peach intermission next, where we gotta hit a button behind this picture to get out of our room without anybody knowing. We end up in this room where we see Bowser's diary, and we learn that the next Star Spirit card is locked in Dry Ruins, which is in Dry Desert. Then Blippity Bloppity Bow Man shows up to ruin the fun and ends this intermission section. After getting back to Mario, the Star Spirit we saved gives us a new ability which uses star energy called Focus. It's a pretty cool concept which is used even better in the sequel, but for now, just know that the star powers are useful in specific circumstances. After getting back to Toad Town, Twink shows up and tells Mario that the next Star Spirit card is in Dry Desert, which we already knew, so yeah. Now's a good time to talk about the stuff that gets added around Toad Town chapter after chapter. You get a variety of letters, new Luigi interactions, etc. when going back to Toad Town after every chapter, so it's a good idea to check in and see what's new. This is also where we can enter Toad Town tunnels for the first time, which is basically a place which connects all significant towns in the game for fast travel, whilst also having a few secrets like a trilogy of bosses against increasingly difficult bloopers. I love this place, mainly because of its usefulness, but also because of how fun it is to traverse. Anyway, what we're supposed to do is go to the southern Toad Town and blow up this rock blocking this train, which leads us to Mount Rugged, technically starting chapter 2 off fully. After reaching the desert, we meet this mail delivery paratrooper named Paracarry, who frankly sucks at his job as he lost tons of letters which you need to go find. It's the usual stuff that's in this game, fighting enemies, using partners, the whole shebang. Once you get those letters and give them to Paracarry, he joins your party and lets you travel across gaps larger than my peen and also is good against aerial enemies in combat. After getting him, you can use him to fly over this gap to find Klepto, who asks what your name is. I'm obviously Princess Peach, so I answered truthfully, but they didn't believe me and tried to murder me for some reason. Weird. Anyway, this is an optional mini-boss. It's easy when you use Paracarry as he straight up does 5 damage with his Shell Shot ability, so yeah, easy boss. After that, you can finally enter Dry Desert, which is basically just a 7x7 grid of slightly different rooms. You only need to go straight right here to enter Dry Outpost. This is really annoying to write over and over again. Just dry. Over here, you can find Merly in the back alley, who gives you a spell that happens randomly during or after a battle that gives you a specific buff, like more attack power, double coins after the battle, and the best one, double star points. It's more than worth 50 coins for the longest lasting spell, and it's just really useful. Story-wise, you need to give this mouse guy a lemon and ask him how to see Moustafa, which he replies that you must buy a dried shroom, then a dusty hammer from the shop, in that order, and the shop owner will give you a key to see him. It's really as easy as that. Once you do it, you find out the guy we just talked to is Moustafa himself. Shocker! He tells us how to get to Dry Ruins, which is by using this pulse stone that pulses faster the closer you get to the ruins. So you follow that pulse to the northern side of the desert, where you put the stone into this mechanism which makes the ruins appear. Not much happens throughout the place aside from these ominous messages from this mysterious guy who talks to us throughout our journey here, and us getting our first attack upgrade, the Super Hammer, allowing us to break stronger bricks on the overworld and do more damage to enemies in battle. At the end, however, we meet Tutton Cooper, who's the guy who's been saying wacky stuff to us throughout this whole area. He's the next boss here, and with good usage of badges such as D-Down Pound and Power Jump and Paracarry, he's not too bad. He spawns these chain chomps that can be a real hassle if you're not careful. With good enough gaming, however, you should take him down fairly easily, ending chapter 2. Still not at the game's peak yet, but we're definitely getting there. Chapter 3 is next, which has a pretty creative premise. Peach, Bowser barges into her room just to brag about the so-called invincible guy named Tubba Blubber who Mario just won't beat. After a quick stealth section avoiding guards that I failed once, we reach these guards who we eavesdrop on. They say that Tubba Blubber and the Star Spirit card is in Gusty Gulch where the boos live. Apparently TB eats booze, which is fun. He also has a secret that would ruin everything about him if it got out. Then we found out, oh shit, Mario time! The Star Spirit card gives us the Star Power Lullaby, which is a stupid dumb move you should never use. There's not really anything else to do here at the moment, so we gotta go back to Toad Town for the next stuff. Oh yeah, one more thing, upgrade blocks. These allow you to upgrade a party member, which gives them 1 extra attack power and a new ability in battle, which is just awesome. Anyway, after going across this area in Toad Town, man's scared of ghost. We see no ghost. We investigate. We see ghost. Ghost tells us we need to go through funny area coming up or else. Chapter 3. Yeah. Oh yeah, I also fought Electro Blooper at this point, I forgot to mention. Anyway, we're now in Forever Forest, which is basically the Lost Woods from Ocarina of Time, but cooler as you tell which way to go by paying attention to the environment and finding the odd exit out. Not much here, we fight Piranha Plants and Forest Fuzzies, the latter being as annoying as ever to dodge. At the end, you find a mansion, Boo's mansion to be exact, where that Boo from earlier comes out again and tells us to reach the top of the mansion, as that's where the person who owns the place is. He's just a butler named Bootler. This game loves its puns of names, just like the Toads in Toad Town, yeah. This starts a puzzle section where you gotta get various things to get other things to eventually reach the top. Like this way is used to keep this chandelier pulled down to enter this area. We get the super boots here as well, which allows us to do more damage jumping and lets us do a ground pound outside of battle. Once we reach the top, we meet Lady Bo, who needs our help to stop TV from eating all the booze here. Our reward is the Star Spirit card, so we kinda have to help this entire species survive. Well, at least we got one of the best party members in the game now. Bo lets us turn invisible to anyone so they don't know where we are, but we also have to be completely still when doing so. She also has this awesome smack move which does 1 damage 4 times in a single turn at that moment. She's great against enemies who don't have any defense. Now to the right of Boo Mansion is Gusty Gulch, where we're now allowed into due to Bo. There's a funny windmill in the town here which is not... a tide. We just witnessed essentially a murder. Yay. Now to get back at this motherfucker. After the usual rooms with platforming and enemies, we reach TB's castle where we gotta use a lot of bow to avoid these things, and I failed him more times than I want to admit. I game overed, yay! Anyway, there's a funny guy hiding who gives you the odd tip midway through this area, but it ain't too bad. Towards the end, there's a section where you have to avoid TB himself, and honestly it's kinda scary being this close to him. The final room leaves us in his bedroom, where the key to TB's weakness is. Run! Once you get out of here, you still gotta rush to that windmill I talked about area, so run more! Once you go through a few miscellaneous rooms, you reach a heart. Yeah, this is TB's heart, and that gives him his immense power. He has this move that charges up, so you use Bo's out of sight ability to avoid it, because it does tons of damage. Overall a bit tougher than the last bosses, but it ain't too bad. After finishing it, it dashes out to TB and you gotta go after it. This starts a pathetically easy section against TB, which you can finish in 1 turn. He reveals that he never even wanted to eat ghosts and just releases them all. He's also a little baby bitch man. Well, we did what Bo wanted, so she gives us the Star Spirit card ending Chapter 3. A super creative premise executed really well. On to Chapter 4, which, in my opinion, is the peak of this game. Back to Peach. Let's now go and see if there's anything else that can give us info. Bow's in. He's got some questions which change up things about the next chapter. That said, Marrow time. We got Star Song, which is an incredible, awesome power you should always use. It does 7 damage to all enemies. Like, come on. On the way back to Toad Town, Junior Trooper arrives and flies now. Cool. After killing a child once more, we reach Toad Town, which has been completely ransacked by Shy Guys. But before we deal with the potential shutdown of an entire town ruining many lives, we got a very important badge to get called Quick Change, which allows you to change party members and attack within the same turn, which is insanely useful. Anyway, what were we doing? Oh yeah, saving this town. We gotta go to this odd house, use bow, wow that's a guy, go into the funny secret Minecraft base in Chapter 4, baby. We fall into Shy Guy's toy box where a toy train has gone missing, so we can only explore our current surroundings. The right pathway lets us see our consequences for choosing what we chose in the Peach Intermission, because Kami Keeper summons exactly what we chose in order. One of my favourite things in this chapter is the variety of different Shy Guys as enemies. They all have their own different charm to them and they're really fun to fight. This whole chapter is basically just going around the toy box and getting things for people to find out how to go further in. Significant moments in this chapter are this funny guy called Gourmet Guy who you need to give cake to get past him, and this mini-boss where you gotta attack the lantern he's holding so the room lights up enough to be able to attack him. After that awesome boss, we blow up the lantern and our new party member, What, emerges. She's another insanely useful party member in battle because she can pierce defense with her normal attack, essentially being the opposite of Bow. Her out of battle ability ain't nearly as good though, only being used to light dark areas up. After that, we can quickly go straight to the boss of this chapter, General Guy. He summons a few Shy Guy forms before taking him on himself. What's obviously useful here is she can pierce the defense of the machine General Guy's controlling. This boss is honestly a little more difficult than others, but it's not that bad. The Shy Guys run off after defeating him, and also the chapter's done. There are a couple things I didn't mention, but they don't really add too much here, so let's just sail on over to Chapter 5. Back to Peach, we meet Gourmet Guy again, and he wants cake, so we make it by doing a couple mini-games and getting the right stuff to make it. Once you make it for him, he tells Peach that the next Star Spirit card is in Mount Lava Lava on Lava Lava Island. Then we get caught again, fun. We get Shell Out, which I never use but can be useful in specific circumstances. Just kidding, I did actually use it. Fuck. Twink comes along and meets the Star Spirit and tells Mario where the next Star Spirit card is. Neat. At this point, I decided to do a slew of side quests in this game, which are all pretty solid. Nothing groundbreaking, of course, this is an extremely simplified RPG, after all, but they all give you a useful thing after finishing it. Except Koopa Koot, he's the worst. I swear I did like 25 of his goddamn favours and I still didn't do it all. You only get like 1 coin for most favours and on occasion 3 star pieces, but it's just not worth it because of how tedious it is. Good thing it's optional. Anyway, we gotta go to this whale at the Toad Town port and go inside of it to fight Fuzzipede, which has been making its stomach hurt. You know, as you do. After that simple fight, we can get on the whale alongside Colorado, the adventurer who will join us for this chapter. Not as a party member though. And truly start Chapter 5. Once we land on Lava Lava Island, we'll go across a couple rooms, and after Colorado gets abused, we get to Yoshi Village, which we'll do some stuff in soon enough. Going right here gets us to the entrance of Mount Lava Lava, which we can't get to because it's too high. Well, let's go back to the village. The kids are gone! That sounds really bad out of context, doesn't it? Shit. We gotta get the Yoshi kids back with our new party member Sushi. She's kind of okay. She does a swim in water, which is nice. We get the Yoshi kids with her help, and once we get back to the mayor of the village, he gives us the Jade Raven, which allows us to go through this statue blocking this path. Going through that path will get us to Raphael the Raven, who helps us get to Mount Lava Lava, and also gives us the Ultra Stone, which allows us to upgrade every party member at Upgrade Box once more, which lets us make Bo and Moi even more OP than they were before. Throughout Mount Lava Lava, we get a collection of Colorado shenanigans of him just being the dumbest idiot. Like, there's a massive fucking block coming at you. Move out of the way, dumbass! We also get the Ultra Hammer, which upgrades the hammer in battle and allows us to break these red and yellow blocks in the overworld. Once you get to the end, we meet Lava Piranha, who, like many other enemies here, is weak to ice and water attacks, so make liberal use of Sushi, or Parakarry as I'm done, and the badge Ice Power, which gives our attacks a nice ice upgrade. Once he's down once, he'll come out again all fiery, and that's when the water and ice attacks start to be really good, so good use of them will make this relatively difficult foe so much easier. Once he's down, the Star Spirit card emerges, marking the end of Chapter 5. Oh shit, we gotta get out of here as the volcano's erupting. This is another memorable Peach intermission, as we get to take part in a pop quiz. If we win, we get a Jam and Jelly, one of the best items in the game combined with an Ultra Shroom. For participating, we get the Sneaky Parasol, which allows Peach to morph into anything she uses it on. It'll be useful in the next Peach intermission, and nothing else though. The questions themselves allude to the place Flower Fields, where the next Star Spirit card is being held. Bowser takey Peach to Root Marrow. We're not completely finished with this area yet, as in the final cutscene before Peach, a chest flew out of the volcano when it erupted, and the loot in the chest is just what Colorado came to get. Giving it to him will give us a seed, which is imperative in unlocking the next chapter. We can now go back to the Tow Town using Whale. And Junior Trooper is here. That's it. There's a fight. It's easy. Anyway, we gotta go to this garden area and give this Toad 4 seeds, which you find throughout the game. But there's something I want to do before this. There's a super difficult optional boss called Kent C. Cooper blocking the path to Cooper Village, which I fought at this point and beat. My strategy to beat this, if any of you are playing this game whilst watching for some reason, was to use Chill Out on my first turn to decrease his immense attack power. After that, I'd use Power Quake and Watt to do as much damage as possible. I could have used better healing items, and there are far better strategies out there, but that's what's fun about this game, coming up with your own unique strategies to defeat tough bosses. I eventually beat him after not too many tries, which felt really nice. I only got 20 star points though, which sucks. Anyway, after planting the funny seeds in the garden, a door magically opens, which takes us to Flower Fields, marking the true start to Chapter 6. This chapter has a lot going on in it, so I'll try to keep this as brief as possible. Flower Fields is in trouble because the dark clouds Huff and Puff is making makes the sun unable to do its job, so we gotta stop him. Along the chapter we meet many anthropomorphic flowers such as Petunia, Posy, Lily, etc. And they all have a problem caused by the sun being covered up by the clouds which you gotta fix. You need to convince Rosie to give you the Water Stone by giving her a crystal berry from Posy, giving the Water Stone to Lily so she can live. You find out that the sun is just chilling on the ground as the clouds block him from going up, and we meet our 8th and final party member, Lackalaster. He's very situational, allowing you to float over hazards. He's not that good in battle either. Anyway, he lets you get to the Puff Puff machine, which has been making the clouds in the first place. You break it and save Flower Fields. Before continuing the actual chapter, however, I wanted to get something right now, as it will help a ton during the rest of the game. The Ultra Boots. They're in the Toad Town tunnels pretty far down, but getting them now is worth it for the boss. There's still one issue we need to deal with in Flower Fields, that being Mr. Huff and Puff himself. Throughout the chapter we get a magical bean, soil, and water to plant a beanstalk to make our way to him. He's the big boss of this chapter, and his fight is pretty creative. Every individual hit during an attack will make him spawn smaller puff-puffs, which get stronger the more there are. Sometimes Huff and Puff will even suck him up and heal, which is annoying. He'll also charge up and do a pretty powerful attack, so bows out of sight is good there. He's a little more difficult than previous bosses, but not anything as bad as Kenzie Cooper. Defeating him makes the Star Spirit card spawn, marking the end of Chapter 6. However, I did something on my playthrough I never thought I could with this Star Spirit card. So let me explain. There's a glitch in the game called the background swap glitch, where if you press pause on the exact same frame as picking up the Star Spirit card, the background just stays at the point where you picked it up, until you close the game or pause again. Most people have this elaborate setup when doing it, but I just fucking walked into it. It's frame perfect. I did it. This is something I only ever imagined doing. And not only did I do it, I recorded it. I am the best. On to Chapter 7. You'll see the background swap glitch throughout the next few sections of this video, as I couldn't pause to get rid of it. You may think that won't be that bad, right? As Peach, we gotta turn into a Koopa Troll and go further into the castle, turn into this green dude I can't be bothered to figure out the name of, vibe here, get found out, Red Man. Second to last star ability is Timeout, which is kinda pointless at this point, honestly. If you want to see me do a video on random shenanigans with the glitch, let me know, as I did a save state of when I did it. It was now where I decided to do another optional mini-boss, Anti-Guy. He's just a normal Shy Guy, but does 20 times the attack damage. Honestly, it wasn't that bad, especially compared to Kenzie, and our reward is infinitely much better as well, because we get another Power Plus badge. Anyway, story-wise, we gotta go back to Merlon, who's talking to this ninja, who tells us about Merle, a person we need to go to, and that person lives in Starborn Valley in the Shiver region. Well, I guess we have nothing better to do except go there now! The entrance is in Toad Town Tunnels, which you need to get to using many abilities we've gotten over the course of the game. After not long, we reach the beginning of the last main chapter, Chapter 7. We enter Shiver City, where all the penguins live. We can't leave, as we need permission from the mayor to leave. So let's go to him. I was just lying there on the ground. Strange. Ooh. Wait. He's not moving. He's dead! Body reported! And we're being blamed for it. I mean, we clearly did the scan in Medbay. We do have visual tasks on. This calls for an investigation to find the imposter. On the present next to the mayor, there's a tag which states the name Herringway. That means Herringway is highly sus. We must do the ice-breaking task to find our way to him. I also did another funny glitch where you swim on land. We make our way there and I call an emergency meeting. There is a fair amount of evidence that he isn't the imposter, but still, we just don't know. Wait, how? That's not how the game works. But, well, I guess no imposters were in this round, so we won, I guess. We have permission to leave now, at least. We can start moving across to Starborn Valley now. Now that we're here, we can talk to Merle about what he wanted to talk about. We learned that this place is where stars are born before going into the sky, and that Bowser has stopped them from going into the sky. We also learned that the next Star Spirit card is in the Crystal Palace on Shiver Mountain. And he also gives us a scarf, which definitely holds some purpose to get to it apparently. Its actual purpose? To put on the snowman, as well as this bucket you get from when going back to the mayor and giving him a letter in a tree. There's not much that happens on the way except another Among Us game, but with Koopa and this ghost of Madame Merla. After not long, we eventually reach Crystal Palace, which, in my opinion, is the best dungeon-like place in the game. It plays with the really cool mechanic of reflections, like making one thing move on one side makes the other thing move on the other side. After a few more wacky Among Us games and more creative uses of reflection, we reach the Crystal King. It's actually kinda hard, as the combinations of what he does make it difficult to come up with a good strategy. From healing himself to making clones, this one nearly took me down. However, I did beat him first try and got the final Star Spirit card of the game. On to the final chapter, Chapter 8. Bowser and Peach have a fight and he takes her into Ultra custody. That's it. Mario! We got up and away, which is pretty OP, but I never used it because I'm a certified dum-dum. It was here where I did the last couple side quests I wanted to do. The main one being this massive mail chain you need to do to get the Lucky Day badge, which is good, but I ultimately never used it because it needed 7 goddamn BP to use. So, you may be wondering why I'm at max level. So, I wanted to grind off recording to get to max level using Amazy Daisies and Flower Fields. I am now at max HP, MP, and BP. So yeah, the rest will be a breeze for me pretty much. For a little more preparation, I made Jelly Ultras, which heal MP and HP to full. Plus I got a few life streams which revive you just in case. And finally a few repel gels, which are basically just bows out of sight, move, but as an item, and it lasts longer. Finally, at long last, we can now go back to Shooting Star Summit and go across this starry path to reach Star Haven. There's a star town before it, which is nice, though. Once you get to Star Haven, the Star Spirits give us their final ability, Star Beam, which lets you stop Bowser's impenetrability. They also make a roller coaster looking car thing, which takes us to Bowser's Castle, the final dungeon-like place in the game. This, naturally, uses most abilities we've gotten throughout the game, from Bombette blowing up a wall in a prison, love that cyclical structure, to Lackluster flying over lava, to Watt lighting up this cave section. This place is pretty fun, but not really unique in any way to other places, like Chapter 7's. We do get this water temple-esque section in the middle, another quiz section which you need to not fail, otherwise you need to fight 3 goddamn anti-guys, and a final refight against that bitch who actually opposes a little bit of a threat. It's still not the worst though, with enough good gaming and power, because you grinded, because you're scared of dying to the final boss 20 times. You eventually reach Peach's castle, which is pretty much empty. Honestly, I love things like this in games where you can explore the area you've seen countless times as your main character, instead of just seeing it in fleeting moments. There's only a single Toad here who lets you heal everything to full. Once you're physically and mentally prepared, you move to where we died at the beginning, to fight a pretty much scripted fight against Bowser where you show him the Star Beam ability we got earlier and take him down. He's not done though, as he flees with Peach to the very top of the castle. Well, what are we waiting for? We gotta go after him. We chase after him and eventually reach this huge bridge connecting the small section of land next to the castle. If you want to know what badges I had on, I had Mega Jump, Mega Smash, Mega Quake, Quick Change, 2 Power Pluses, Damage Dodge, All or Nothing, Pretty Lucky, and Speedy Spin. I definitely could have changed some of them, like Speedy Spin and Mega Quake, because they never really showed any use in battle, but I still beat it pretty easily anyway, so yeah. Anyway, we reach Bowser, the bridge falls, and the final boss starts. I'll let Goombaro explain why Bowser is quite a challenging foe. constantly used Mega Smash and Watt to deal as much damage as I could, then I used a Jelly Ultra when I ran out of MP. Midway through the fight, however, Bowser finds a loophole. He wishes to be invulnerable to even the Star Beam, which is a pretty big problem as we cannot deal damage to him in any way now. What'll we do? Nothing. Because Peach wishes for someone to help, and that thing is Twink. He comes in and starts a scripted battle against Kammy Koopa, where he gets more and more powerful the more Peach wishes, eventually outperforming Kammy Koopa and killing her. This leads to Kammy Koopa's demise, and for Twink to combine with the Star Beam to make Peach Beam, a move so powerful it destroys any invincible barrier imaginable. With that, we continue back into the Bowser fight, now being able to actually damage him because of Peach Beam. With that, the fight is essentially the same as before, but one move just looks cooler. In my opinion, that sequence is kind of unnecessary and kind of takes away the cool feeling of the boss, as Twink already served his purpose in the story to me. But at least the Sukins gives him some sort of character arc now. A lot of Mega Smashes and Electro Dashes later, and a couple heals from Bowser, we take him down, ending the final boss of Paper Mario 64. We take back the Star World, and more importantly, Peach is back. However, the place is crumbling, so what will we do? Nothing again, as the Star Spirits have got our back, and the castle on its own slowly falls back to where it belongs. The ground. We talk to each Star Spirit one last time and say goodbye to each one, plus a special goodbye to Twink, who has shown a lot of growth throughout the game. Finally, the screen fades to black. We are now shown Mario talking to Luigi about the journey we just went on, days after it happened. We see what everyone's up to now, mainly because Paracari is giving everyone a letter to a party Peach is throwing to celebrate the return of peace, including Mario of course. Again, cyclical structure. Both of the brothers run out of the house and you get to walk through Toad Town one final time, and talk to most people you've seen on this journey. Once you've spoken to everyone you've wanted to, enter the castle, where Peach gives a speech thanking everyone who helped out to save the Mushroom Kingdom. She also wishes for peace and prosperity in the kingdom forever.
Like that's ever gonna happen.
The screen zooms out and the credits roll, marking the end of the first Paper Mario game. This game just has it all, from incredible turn-based gameplay to solid comedy, to really interesting mechanics, and so much more. You should absolutely check out this game if you have the chance. I did make this super long video on it and all. Can't be bothered ranking the prologue because I just don't care. Chapter 1 is as generically Mario as you can get, with the green environments, castle section, even having the most generic Mario enemies and more. It's not bad, but just pretty uninteresting except for the Chad Cooper bros. Chapter 2 is also pretty uninteresting, as it goes for the second world desert stereotype in Mario games, but it does throw cool new things at times, and it's just more of a fun time than Chapter 1. Chapter 6 isn't bad, but it isn't anything too special after the last 3 bangers. It has an uncomfortable amount of backtracking, and has some quite forgettable stuff in it. But at least the boss is pretty cool, and I do like the key characters a lot. Chapter 5 I feel like would work for some people, but it just feels quite quick and forgettable compared to the others looking back. I think I mainly remember it for its glitches, honestly. But it is still just more fun than the previous chapters to me. Chapter 8 is this high mainly because the final boss is just that awesome to me. But the rest doesn't completely disappoint. It has its moments, but it simply just doesn't cut it compared to the top 3. Speaking of the top 3, Chapter 3 has a super unique premise for Mario, trying to find the weakness to someone who is so-called invincible, and it uses that concept pretty well in my opinion. The atmosphere change from Bow's Mansion to Gusty Gulch is a little jarring, but This chapter just slaps, and nothing else can change my mind on that. Also, Bo, best party member personality-wise. Chapter 7 is the first of the 2 true banger chapters I'd want to replay any time if I could. The Among Us aspect at the beginning is funny and great, and the Crystal Palace at the end is fantastic too. The middle is a little boring though, to be honest. And finally, like I said when we covered it, Chapter 4 is the best. It's got some really fun enemies to fight, a cool optional boss, you get the best party member battle-wise, it has some of the best bosses, come on! Everything in this chapter slaps, how could it not be number 1? This whole chapter is probably one of my favourite sections in any Mario game, it's just too much fun. In conclusion, Paper Mario 64 is a game I wanted to beat for the longest time before I eventually did in 2020. And playing through this game again, it's just as good as I remember. This game was certainly a good beam of light for the whole series to show that this series is something special. We've got 4 more games left to cover here. Again, I'm not covering 6 Star. So stay tuned for the 1000 Year Door if I ever finish that script and I don't procrastinate as much on that as I did with this one, like, jeez. Anyways guys, that just about does it for today's video everybody, I really hope you all enjoyed it. And if you like my channel, then why not subscribe, click the like button, check out these videos, share with friends and family, check out my Twitch channel and click the bell, it'll let you be notified when any new videos come out. Anyways guys, hope you all have a fantastic day and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.